Masataka Yoshida is officially making his way back to Boston, and this could kind of change everything for the Sox. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Sea Radio. My name is Corbin, and thank you very much for clicking on this video. I think the overall sort of prevailing thought process, especially amongst Red Sox fans and analysts, is that Masataka Yoshida will not start the year with the Red Sox on the 26-man roster, and instead start the year on at least the 15-day IL, waiting for him to get 100% healthy and ready to go. And while that still is the prevailing theory, it might not totally be the case anymore, because yesterday Alex Cora mentioned in an article by Christopher Smith of Mass Live that Masataka Yoshida has got the green light to begin live batting practice. Now, obviously, live batting practice isn't exactly, hey, this dude's ready to and rearing to go, baby, let's get this guy into games, but it is a big step because it's kind of the closest step to getting ready and into live games you can have without actually being in those games. According to Alex Cora, too, quote, "There's a chance Masa will start DHing soon. We'll see how it feels." It really sounds like the plan with Masataka Yoshida right now is to go from this live batting practice, take a couple of different at-bats there, see how he feels, and then get him into game action, which is absolutely fantastic, right? Because for the Red Sox, that's getting back an above-league average bat that they can utilize on a day-to-day basis. However, despite it being a good thing that Masataka Yoshida is healthy, it does really complicate DH matters for the Boston Red Sox. Why, you may ask? Well, because over the last few weeks, especially fans and media have really been debating what the Red Sox are going to do with their lineup, where specifically Rafael Devers is going to play. Is he going to be a third baseman, or is he going to be a DH? Actually, I should sort of broaden that a little bit. It's not just Rafi in this equation. It's Bregman, Hamilton, Grissom, and Campbell as well. With all those guys, where is Rafael Devers going to play? The prevailing theory right now, especially amongst Red Sox fans, is that with Masa on the IL, Alex Cora can utilize his DH position as more of a versatile weapon than just simply having an everyday DH, right? The overall thought process is if the DH is open, you could fit all these guys onto the roster with Rafi taking most of his ABs as a DH to start the year, while getting in a Campbell, a Grissom, a Hamilton, and have Bregman over there at third base, right? That kind of works for everyone. However, obviously, that doesn't work out too well if you've got Masataka Yoshida in that DH spot. Unfortunately for the Red Sox, you can't have a 10-man lineup with two DHs, although that would be absolutely incredible. So the question becomes, what do the Red Sox do here? How do they make this work with Masataka Yoshida as the DH for the Boston Red Sox? It kind of totally changes everything, doesn't it? In my opinion, there's three ways this can go for Boston. The first way is that Masa just does simply end up being your DH, right? He's healthy, he's ready to go. You want that bat in the lineup, you are going to utilize him as a DH. This could hypothetically work, right? The overall thought process when Bregman was first signed to the Red Sox to begin with, before anything came up about him moving back over to third base, was exactly this, that Masa would DH, Rafi would be your third baseman, and Alex Bregman would be your second baseman, and that's still absolutely a possibility, especially if Masataka Yoshida gets healthy, because you can't exactly rotate Masa and Rafael Devers in that DH role. They play totally different positions. Masa might not be ready to play the field come opening day, so you can't exactly flip-flop these guys in and out of third base. So this could be option number one, Bregman at second, Rafi at third, Masa at DH. However, there's one big wrench in this plan, and that is that this effectively kind of makes it abundantly clear here that Kristian Campbell will start the year in AAA, and Vaughn Grissom and David Hamilton, instead of fighting to potentially be a starting second baseman for the Red Sox, are going to end up fighting for a bench utility role, with, I think, David Hamilton having the edge there because of his speed and the fact that he does play multiple positions. Vaughn Grissom also plays multiple positions, but hasn't played multiple positions in a little bit. I think it'd take him a little bit to get used to being able to play shortstop again, being able to potentially go into the outfield again. Not really the point of this video, just something I was talking about. And why this is an issue is because the whole reason we're even having a conversation about Rafael Devers moving to DH is because of how high the Red Sox have publicly been on these three guys, specifically how high they've been on Kristian Campbell, right? If the Red Sox weren't as high high on Kristian Campbell as they appear to be based on everything we have heard from this team coming into the season, I don't think we'd be having a conversation about Rafael Devers moving to DH. I think the conversation would be, how is Bregman going to look at second base? Grissom's also part of this equation as well. The Red Sox are really impressed with how much work Grissom's put in the offseason, and David Hamilton has been showing up really big in spring training. These three guys are making this entirely more complicated, and I got to be honest with you, I don't know that the Red Sox sit there and say that they are comfortable with Kristian Campbell, Vaughn Grissom, and David Hamilton, a combination of those three guys starting the year in AAA. It's not the end of the world, right? Campbell, Grissom, those guys are still really young. Having another year in AAA isn't really going to deter their future on the Boston Red Sox, but the Red Sox are in win now mode. They've made that abundantly clear. If they believe that Kristian Campbell, Vaughn Grissom, or David Hamilton, probably more so either Kristian Campbell or Vaughn Grissom, are going to be a really big part of whether or not the Red Sox win or lose some of these games, they've got a really, really tough decision to make. And I don't know that having Masataka Yoshida as your DH allows you to be able to utilize any of those guys. So right off the bat, things get extremely complicated. Now, the second possibility here for the Boston Red Sox is that they kind of move Masataka Yoshida into a bench role. They say, look, Maso, you're a solid bat, but you can't play the field. We're going to make you sort of this fifth outfielder type spot on the bench. To me, this doesn't really make a ton of sense on a couple of different levels. First and foremost, there's not really a ton of versatility here with Masataka Yoshida defensively, right? He would essentially be your second left fielder. That's all he can really do. You're not going to play this guy in center field. You're certainly not going to play this guy in right field, especially at Fenway Park. Plus, he's not really in true fielding form yet, and we'll get into that in a second. So basically what you got here is, if you're going to put him on the bench role, is a second DH that you can utilize once every 3 or 4 days. But who do you take off their feet, right? Do you take Alex Bregman off his feet? Do you take a Kristian Campbell or Vaughn Grissom off his feet? Do you take Rafi off of his feet? I don't really want any of those guys out of this lineup every 3 or 4 days. Imagine a team where Rafi's only playing 5 times a week and not 6 or 7. That doesn't make a ton of sense. He's your best hitter, right? You're not going to sub Masa in for Devers at DH every once in a while. That doesn't make a ton of sense. And on top of that, Masa's still a productive bat. We're sitting here talking about Masataka Yoshida as a bench bat like he's a 0-win player. That's not entirely true. Last year, even despite the fact that he was playing the full season with this shoulder injury, he still managed to put up really solid numbers at the plate. A 280 average, a 349 on base percentage, and a 415 slug for a 112 OPS plus, 12% above league average production. You have to imagine that now that he's healthy and that shoulder issue is fixed, that ceiling's even higher. We're talking about a legit middle of the order type bat, despite what you guys may think, right? If statistically with a bum shoulder, he's 12% above league average production, what is he going to look like now that that shoulder is fully healthy and ready to go? It would be kind of a waste of talent to have this guy just sitting on your bench. Not to mention, you're also paying him $18 million a year. That's a whole lot of money for a guy who's simply going to play every 3 or 4 days, if that, right, with how the Red Sox lineup is constructed. Because again, you can't exactly sub him in every other day in an outfield spot. He would have to be a sub at DH or potentially down the road a sub in left field. But again, that's taken out either Rafael Devers at DH or Jarren Duran in left field. Those are like your two most valuable players right now. Those aren't exactly guys you want to have a guy platooning with basically on your bench, especially because they're both the same handedness. So starting on the bench to me just doesn't make a ton of sense either. The third option here is still very much in play, and that is that despite the fact that Masataka Yoshida is 100% healthy and ready to go DH-wise, they still start him on the IL. The reason for this is because Alex Cora and Craig Breslow have kind of made it abundantly clear here that they believe that Masataka Yoshida should be playing more outfield this season. They have said that, both of them actually, multiple times this offseason, to the point where it almost feels like Masa is going to be a part-time outfielder while also playing a majority of games at DH. How many games that is, I honestly have no idea. Is it 30? Is it 40? Is it 50? Is it half of his games playing out on the field? I have no idea. But if they're kind of pushing for Masa to be more on the field than he was last season, which was 0 games last season, they kind of have an opening here to say, we're going to kick the can down the road a little bit, because right now, Masa's bat is much more ahead of his fielding. He's still only throwing from 45 feet, and obviously 45 feet isn't going to get it done if we're playing the outfield, right? You're going to need to throw a little bit further than that, Masa. So he still has a way to go until he's ready for being able to play the field, which could absolutely give the Red Sox a reason to say, look, we love your bat, we want your bat in the lineup, but we also want you to be able to play the outfield, and we want to make sure that you're 100% healthy, so we're going to start you, again, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, on the 15-day IL, which gives them a little bit of wiggle room, right? It allows them to go back to that original theory of, okay, if we keep the DH spot open with Rafi getting most at-bats there, we can fit guys like Campbell, Grissom, and Hamilton onto this roster, while also allowing them to get regular playing time and not really tampering with their development in Major League Baseball, which would work absolutely and kind of solve this solution. But again, that's sort of just kicking the can down the road. At some point here, Masataka Yoshida is going to be healthy. He is going to be ready to go. So you still have this problem, right? Despite the fact that he's a DH, you still have this problem. And it's a good problem to have. It's not a bad problem to have that Masa's on this team. It's a good problem that you have too much talent and not enough spots, but it is still a problem that you need to figure out. Now, I suppose that you could still trade Masataka Yoshida. You could still DFA Masataka Yoshida. You can always DFA Masataka Yoshida. I just personally don't see either of those two things happening by the time he gets fully healthy. I think if the Red Sox had wanted to trade Masataka Yoshida, he would have probably been traded already. Not that they haven't wanted to trade him, but other teams just simply don't seem to be interested in picking up that contract. So unless the Red Sox take on a ton of money to move him, I just don't see that happening. And DFAing him, to me, doesn't really make a ton of sense, right? You're paying this dude almost $20 million a year. He's still a productive player at the plate. It's not like he is a bad hitter or anything. It would be kind of a waste of money to pay him to play for somebody else, even if you are really high on a Campbell, a Grissom, or a Hamilton. To me, that doesn't make a ton of sense. So I don't think either of those two things are happening. And this isn't a video to crap all over Masa. In fact, I really like the fact that Masa's healthy. It, again, adds another layer of potential impact to this big league roster, and that's a really, really good thing. It adds another layer of good problems the Red Sox currently have, and they have a lot of them right now. But at the end of the day, it is still a problem, like I said. And to be honest with you, I have absolutely no idea what the correct answer is here. I have no idea how the Red Sox are going to solve this equation. I think it's going to have to play itself out. I think they are going to kick the can down the road. I think he is still going to start the year on the IL. But again, it's just kicking the can down the road. Eventually, they're going to have a tough conversation about where Masataka Yoshida fits on the Red Sox. But that's just my opinion. So let me know in the comment section down below. What do you guys think the answer to this problem is? How do you solve it if you are the GM of the Boston Red Sox? What do you do? Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. It just simply helps out a ton. Best way to let me know you're enjoying the content. Don't forget, if you guys want to listen instead of watch these episodes, the best way to do that is to head over to your favorite podcasting app and looking up Red Seat Radio. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seats.